Hi guys, today is Friday and I decided I'm going to make another video. I think I'm going to make it a routine to do videos on Fridays, but I'll do them on other days of the week. But I like having them done on Friday because it's a little bit more, flexibility. Gives me the week to figure out what to talk about. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to elaborate more about Yuzi, my main character. Because everybody has so far that has read her dialogue and read her character and heard a little bits and pieces of her story has fallen in love with her. So I thought, you know what? Why not give a little bit more detail about who she is as a character? Well, let's put it this way. Let's start out. When you first really get to know her as a character, she's about 17 and a half years old. She's gone through painful experience after painful experience, from her trauma as a child to the time she's a teenager. She's abused in every way humanly possible from the time she's 4. And every time it keeps happening to her, whether it's emotional, sexual, psychological, physical, verbal, mental, she just doesn't understand why it keeps happening. At the times when she's a little girl, she doesn't understand it. She thinks that people are showing her love, people are wanting her in some shape or form, because she doesn't realize at those times that she's being abused. She thinks people are being affectionate towards her, and it kind of scares her a little bit because she doesn't understand why it's going on. She thinks it's love, but she also is scared about the idea because of her sensory issue to touch. So when it starts happening, she isn't really aware of really what's going on until she gets a little older. Till she's about 10 years old, she thinks that all these people want to be her friend, that people care about her, people are just wanting to be around her because she thinks that they care. And in her mind, she doesn't understand that the people that are abusing her really don't care about her. They're abusing her because they have some type of sick, twisted, ulterior motive behind it, of why they keep doing it to her. So when it starts happening, she's very absent to everything. She's very naive to all that's going on. And once she hits about 10, she realizes that some of her abuse is not forms of affection. It's not forms of love. It's people preying on her and using her as a sick object. And it's disgusting. And when she gets older, she has a hard time trusting people and connecting with people because she's so emotionally stunted and destroyed. She doesn't know half the time what's going on. When she's with her first boyfriend, she doesn't understand why he's doing what he's doing, because she's used to people treating her a certain way, so she sees his behavior as an okay behavior. She can't really dictate that his behavior is just as bad as her past abusers. Richie abuses her mentally, psychologically, physically, sexually, every way possible. After she gets away from him, she realizes that he really wasn't her first relationship because he was nothing but toxic for her. He abused her in every way humanly possible, like I said. And in her mind, she thinks it's out of love at first, because he's very sweet to her, he's very kind to her at first, because they grow up together. She's known him since she was 5 years old. So as time goes on, she struggles to realize that his behavior and his attitude and the ways he's treating her are no better or no different than the people that hurt her when she was a little girl. And the thing of it is Richie starts becoming abusive towards her for she doesn't know what reason. She doesn't understand why he becomes abusive, why he shows this abusive behavior. And so when it starts happening, she starts downplaying it and trying to defend everything. Because in her mind, she's trying to understand, if you love me, why do you do this? Because in her mind, as she's grown up, people tell her before they abuse her, in any way humanly possible, oh, Yuzi, I love you, or I'm doing this because I love you, or I care about you. And in her mind, she's thinking, okay, they're doing this out of love. They're hurting me out of love, but it's okay because it's love-based. It's not, if it's hurting me, it's not, if they say I love you, it's not out of to hurt me. She doesn't understand the difference. So she struggles with it, And then when she finally meets Cass, everything changes. Cass changes her world for the greater good. While hers and Cass's relationship at times has emotional faults within it, there's still a lot of love in their relationship because Cass sits there and he helps her as much as he can. The first night they're together alone and they're just in her room talking about everything, she is scared out of her mind because she knows what she has on her body. She knows that she has scars. She knows about her self-harm. She knows about her weight. So when she's first alone with Cass, she doesn't really know what to feel or think. She keeps talking to herself in her head, talking about, what if this guy does what everyone else did? What if he's the same? What if he hurts me like everybody else? And she's got all these thoughts rushing through her head, and she's asking herself all these different questions. And she doesn't really realize that Cass is different from everybody else. And she wants to believe that he's different. Because she believes that there's good in him, even though she doesn't know him, but not even 24 hours. So, when she's alone with him, it's a totally different ballgame for her. It's totally a change of scenery, because she's in a situation where she's being loved, but she's so scared of those feelings because she's known nothing but pain prior. She's known nothing but toxicity prior, and abandonment and abuse, and other things. So when she's getting to know Cass, she literally walks on eggshells, when being around him, because she's so afraid of what he's going to do, of what he's going to say, because she's so used to the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, every type of abuse possible. So when he's very kind and gentle to her and very sweet to her and, understanding, she gets very skittish. The first night they're alone, she literally puts up a wall, but eventually she comes comfortable with the idea of letting her, touch her arms, touch her legs, touch her body without her being so timid. Because usually when people go to touch her, she either ducks, dodges, or she flinches. Or she runs away from them, and she starts crying. When she's first alone with Cass, she does do a little bit of that behavior, because she's so scared to let that wall down, let that vulnerability down, because of what she's gone through. And because Cass is so nice to her, she kind of pushes him away at first. She tells him off, she yells at him. She actually screams at him a couple times, but it's not because she's angry with him. She's so scared of human interaction. She's so scared of human touch. And a lot of people ask me, where'd this all come from? This came from personal experience. I am very weary of people. I'm very scared of people. When I open up to someone, it's not for them to feel sorry for me. It's not to gain sympathy. It's not to get a pity party. It's just me expressing what I feel or what I'm thinking or what I've gone through, so that people are aware, so that people can relate and understand, and that I can help other people become more comfortable with opening up about what they've gone through, what they've experienced, what they've endured, so they realize that they're not alone, that there's lots of people out in this world that have gone through either the same thing or similar things. It doesn't mean we all handle it the same way. We all handle things differently. We all cope with things differently. And that's where I created Yuzi. Like I said in my other videos, I started writing Yuzi's character out when things started getting bad in my life. When my depression started caving in and I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I felt sad. I was scared. I was hurt. And with that being said, it was just like, that was my net. That was my, experiences. That was my pain. That was my trauma. And I dealt with all the different things in different ways. We all handle things differently. We all go through struggles. And the thing for me is when things started getting uglier and rougher in my life, I turned to a lot of different methods. There were methods I thought about, I contemplated, but I wanted to find a route that was not going to cause any negative side effects. There were times where I wanted to self-harm. There were times I wanted to, stuff my emotions down in some shape or form, whether it be eating more food or different things like that. What it led to was I started not eating. Instead of stuffing my food down, I didn't want to eat because I just thought maybe this will make everything go away. And when that didn't work, I started writing. And I found comfort in writing because the starving part I realized wasn't a good idea. Not wanting to eat was not safe. So when I started the writing, I learned that, hey, writing is a good method. And as I got older, it helped. But at the same time, I was so scared of people finding my writing, so scared of people seeing what I had to say.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
Sorry about that. But the thing is I didn't know how to deal. And a lot of the times, I would fake sick when I was growing up because I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to be alone because I was so sad and isolated. I was scared. And so whenever I felt these emotions or these feelings or these thoughts, I started writing Yuzi. It was basically like a checkout from reality where you could put yourself in a situation and just tune out the planet, tune out the world, just ignore everything, ignore everybody. And when I'd write, I literally would see myself as this character, putting myself into her shoes, dealing with what I was dealing with as a way of coping. So essentially, Yuzi's been my therapy. She originally didn't even have a name at first, and then I picked the name Savannah because I liked the sound of Savannah, plus I liked the Savannah deserts in Africa. I thought that was cool because I loved African wild dogs, and I still do. And I liked how they could just roam around that. And I realized it's not the Savannah desert, it's for African wild dogs. But also, as I got older, I took a lot of my experiences and I put them in Yuzi. Because I thought to myself, I can voice something, I can express something, and I don't have to worry about people figuring out that I'm talking about myself or I'm going through these things, because writers can write about everything and anything, and they can have freedom of speech in that department. So when I finally put it all together, I realized how deep Yuzi as a character is. She's so shattered by the time she meets Cass, she doesn't know left from right, up from down, or anything, because she is struggling within herself. She's battling her own demons, but when she meets Cass, it's like she meets someone who takes her for who she is, and it scares her, because she's so used to the judgment, she's so used to the hostility, she's so used to the domestic violence, the abuse, and Cass takes her for who she is. And that's something that a lot of us crave and desire, is someone to just sit with us and talk to us and interact with us and be there for us and understand us and not judge us right off the bat. That's not going to make us think we're crazy, or that we're downplaying ourselves, or that we're being an attention seeker. We're actually genuinely in pain, and we're scared, and we're hurt. And that because, that person is our safety net. And the thing of it is that when I was a kid, I struggled to open up about what I was feeling or thinking. I didn't want to talk about it because I was scared to. I was afraid of the remarks that I would get told, the judgment I would experience. And because of my social issues and my mental health issues and my disabilities, sometimes even vocalizing what I'm feeling now as well as back then, I didn't know what to say. So I would just tell people, everything's okay. Really, on the inside, I was crying, and sometimes I still do. Sometimes I really don't know how to explain my emotions, even now. I'll sometimes say my eyes are on fire, my tears feel like they're fireballs. It's basically me telling you, I'm hurting, please help. And I'm not asking for sympathy when I'm in pain. I just want someone to understand that sometimes a little reassurance is helpful. Sometimes telling someone how special they are is important, how much they're loved and appreciated. But sometimes even when people tell me they appreciate me or they admire me or they think I'm awesome or they compliment me in some shape or form, I don't know how to react to it because I don't see the good in me a lot of the time. Yes, I bring a lot to the table, but I have a lot of war within myself. And that's why I created Yuzi. Because she has a lot of war going on within who she is. She has a lot of self-hatred within who she is because she doesn't know who she is. She struggles to know that, there is someone out there that cares about her. She knows Cass cares about her. She knows Cass loves her. But she doesn't know how to react or feel with it. It's not that she doesn't have emotions or has feelings. It's that she struggles to know what being loved feels like. Because she's never been fully loved in her life because of all the abuse that she's gone through. Because every time someone abused her, they told her that they did it in the name of love, when really it wasn't the name of love. So when Cass is very loving and affectionate and sweet to her and kind to her and gentle to her, she doesn't know what to think. She doesn't know what to feel because she's not used to that feeling and scares her. And that's actually a self-reflection myself. When people tell me, oh, you're so attractive, or I love you, or you're awesome, etc., I sometimes don't know what to say back. I seem cold and standoffish, but that's because I struggle to know what that is. What that feeling is. Because I've always given what I feel is love, and I've gotten hurt by it. Hurt by it. Sorry, not hurtin'. Hurtin's not a word. But sometimes I've been given love and given it back. But sometimes it's more often I give it than receive it. I'm trying not to cry on camera. But the thing of it is that even the people that I know that love and care about me, and I know that they do, I struggle to feel it. I struggle to know what that feeling is because I've had it happen back and forth between being loved, appreciated, and accepted, and then it reversing for reasons I don't understand or know. And that's the thing for me. When something rapidly changes and there's no warning, no sign, or when someone tells me one thing and then they change their mind, or one thing, they go, they are all affectionate towards me and then they become really cold, my brain doesn't understand. Because in the back of my head, it's like, what happened? Why? What's going on type deal. That's all I really have to say about that. And so what I do, like I said, I incorporate a lot of my emotions, a lot of my feelings, experiences, a lot of things I've gone through in Yuzi. Now, hers and Cass's intimate side of their relationship, everybody probably wonders, where does that come from? Simple desire, simple wanting to know what that feels like, wanting to know what it's like to be wanted, wanting to know what it's like to feel loved and appreciated. And it's not just their intimacy in the one way, it's the bond the two of them have, it's the connection that they share. It's that no matter how many fights they get in because of Yuzi's insecurities, they still stand by each other and they still work things out. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things ever is when a couple will have fights, but they'll still make up. They'll work things out when they're not toxic for each other. They accept each other for most of their flaws, and they work things out. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things ever. There's couples I've followed who, they have so much strength in their relationship. They work things out. They talk things out. They make compromises. They fight for each other. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things ever in a relationship is when you fight for the person you love. You don't just give up on each other. And when I see couples who break up over something small, I'm not downplaying it, but it's like, do you realize how lucky you are? one little small thing to break up over, when there could be a worst case scenario, it's something I try and grasp the best I can. And yeah. And that's what Yuzi and Cass do, is they work things out, they talk things out, they handle things in a healthy way. Sure, Yuzi has a lot of her insecurities. Cass has his own issues within himself. But they still manage to work things out. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about their relationship. So there's that. I'll make another video next week. Please check out my apparel. There's 12 or 13 days left. Please order something. I'd much appreciate it. The proceeds go towards the book. Go towards recording equipment for me so I can record the audiobook. I'm hopefully going to have the first book done, at least 10 chapters done by October. I really want to, because I've been putting it off for too long, and I want people to actually read it and not just give them snippets or little bits of information. Comment your questions below. Ask me anything and I will make a video about it. I really want to just start with this. But yeah, happy Saturday. Well, Saturday/Friday. But yeah.